All right, my name is Chris Campbell. I'm a practicing CPA and I work with small businesses and individuals to help them pay the least amount of taxes possible while keeping them out of jail. Today, I wanted to talk about this viral video with Taraji P. Henson. It's been going quite viral. She was doing an interview. Looks like she was doing a press run for the new movie that's coming out, Color Purple. And she was in tears during the show talking about how she's underpaid for her craft. And she had given a breakdown as far as how much money was left. So she was just saying, hey, I'm left with 20% pretty much of everything that I make. Because by the time I pay my team and pay my taxes, I'm literally left with about 20% of what I made. When you compound that with the fact that she feels that she's underpaid to begin with, you can see the frustration on her face and what she's going through. But one thing I did want to point out, and what stuck with me as a CPA, she had mentioned that with her check or her paydays, half of it goes to Uncle Sam, right? That was her words, which means she pays half of her money to taxes. Now, that stuck out to me because I feel that if she's structured properly, she wouldn't have to be paying 50%. And I wanted to explain that a bit. If she's paying 50% of what she brings in taxes, that would indicate to me that when she works these jobs, she's being paid as an employee. And if she is being paid as an employee when she's doing these jobs, then what she's saying is relatively accurate. I'm sure the money that she is bringing in, underpaid or not, she would still be in the higher brackets, which when it all shakes out, and assuming she's a California resident, you're paying about roughly half of your income in wages. And as an actor or an entertainer, you shouldn't be paying 50% of your income in tax. And the reason why is that you shouldn't be getting paid as an employee. You should be getting paid through a corporation. Now, specifically, many actors, entertainers, they operate or own what are called loan out corporations. And with these loan out corporations, loan out companies, they can be LLCs, they can be corporations. You can be an LLC choosing to be taxed as a corporation. How you form it can be different ways. That's why it's a loan out company or a loan out corporation. But the premise behind it, it's specifically for actors, entertainers, where the actor or the talent is an employee of that corporation and the talent is loaning their services to that particular corporation or that company, of which that talent is 100% owner of the company, and they are loaning their services to this company. Uh, Now, how Taraji should be structured, and I'm saying that with the caveat, assuming that she had the option to do this, but I would imagine that once you hit a certain level, I'd like to think that she might be on that level. Once you have a bit of notoriety, that you would be able to look to get paid through this loan out corporation. So she should be operating as a loan out corporation, loan out company, and any gigs or jobs that she books, you want to get paid through this company, of which you are 100% owner and employee. Now, the reason why you can reduce your tax burden with that is because she had mentioned the team that she has to pay. Now, if you're being paid as an employee, then yes, everything that you're paying to your team, you get no tax benefit of. I can easily see why you're left with 20% if that's how you're operating. You're paying everyone out of the check that you received. You're a W 2, half of that goes to the government, and then from your half, you still have to pay your team. That's not the way you should be operating. Now, take that same scenario, and when you worked on Empire, worked on these movies, they should be paying your company. Once you do that, your team all gets paid through the company. Your agent, your lawyers, your beauty squad, your glam squad, all of that gets paid through the company, not you personally. And as a result, it's all tax deductible. When it's time to pay taxes, you're not paying 50% on the entire check that you receive. Your rate may still be 50%, but now you're paying 50% on the net. So if you're bringing $1 million and you got to pay, say, 300K to your team, agents, managers, glam squad, you're paying half on 700 as opposed to paying half on the full $1 million. So she should be structured that way because I can't imagine why actors, especially once you get to a particular notoriety, that you would be paid to your person and not through a company. So I feel for her. And as far as being underpaid, I think as Black folk, we can always identify with that. Hell, I identified in my profession. Part of the reason why I decided to go out on my own. So I definitely believe her as far as being underpaid. I think many of us feel as though we're underpaid. But I just hope that she's able to have herself structured so that you're not paying 50% of everything you bring in taxes. And it doesn't have to be just for established entertainers. Even if you're just starting out, when you're bringing in a couple hundred grand over the course of the year, this is something that you should be looking to exercise. It could be a great tax saver. Now, I know you might be in a situation where you may not have a choice about how you get paid. You may deal with a production company and they say, nope, we want to pay you as an employee. And in those cases, then you may have to bite the bullet, but you really want to fight to get paid as that corporation. Now, the argument against that could be if you get hurt or if you get injured as an employee, you get the whole workers' comp and all that stuff gets covered. But all that stuff, you can get all that coverage yourself. And it could be a tax deduction. If you're worried about what the insurance is, pay it through the company. Make the argument to said producers or whoever's cutting the check to say, look, whatever it was going to cost you, pay me a fraction of that, and that way they save money. So the payroll taxes that they would have had to pay had they hired you as an employee, add a portion of that to the pay. Any insurances that they would have had to account for, add a portion of that to your pay, and you go get their insurance on your own. So there's a number of ways that you might be able to negotiate and incentivize some of these production companies to pay you as a contractor if you're getting pushback on doing so. But you want to make sure you're fighting to get paid as a company and not as a person in these instances. And then that leads me to another thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about. I don't know if I'll call it a little bit of a rant, at least my thoughts on what's going on in Hollywood. My opinion, Hollywood is dying a slow death. At the rate that things are going right now for Hollywood, they're going to be out of here in the next 10 years or so if things continue on the current path. And the reason why I say that is because Hollywood, they're no longer making stars. If you think about it now, you look at the younger folk, where are the younger up and coming Hollywood talent? Who is that now? Where is that 20-something-year-old actor or actress where they had that big breakout moment? Because that's normally how Hollywood has seemed to operate over the last 50 years or so. You find the young talent, you put them in some good movies, and they become the next big thing or next star, and they have that star power, and they become these A-list actors. But guess what? Those 20-something-year-olds stars now, they're on social media. They're doing social media. The biggest 20-something-year-old stars, they're all social media stars. Your Kai Cenats, your Mr. Beast, the Paul brothers. That's the new hot talent right now. They're all social media stars that have nothing to do with Hollywood. And Hollywood knows this. They're aware of this. I think that's part of the reason why this strike came about, because they're simply not making as much money. Hollywood is going the route of what music did with streaming. Everybody's doing the Netflix. Everybody's coming with the streaming. As musical artists have discovered, the money's just not there like that in the actual content creation. That's why you have a lot of musicians now that are out capitalizing off the show money. With actors, actresses, that lane, it might be a little different because I don't know where's the performance piece can come in. I don't know if they can go and perform to make up for the loss in the content creation revenue of the content itself. Maybe the equivalent would be live acting, live plays. But yeah, Hollywood's dying a slow death. So I would also say no need to complain about being underpaid in Hollywood because they're on their way out of here at this pace. Now, I'd like to think that they'll probably do something to combat. My prediction is that the next 10 years, I'd say 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a YouTube competitor backed by the Hollywood studios, because the star power of your social media personalities, the star power is just becoming too great, and they're eclipsing what's happening in Hollywood. So I would see the counter to that. The studios are going to get together and create their own platform, use the distribution, create shows, or what they might do is they'll go to the current YouTubers that are hot at the time and give them exclusive offerings and say, come over to this platform. They'll pay them gobs of money to post their content exclusively on this YouTube competitor. That's my prediction. I really think that's coming. So you'll want to be on the lookout for that. Or what you might see are your YouTubers or social media stars becoming the next movie stars. Studios may come and pluck them and say, look, come and be in this movie. And they may not have any acting experience, but they have the audience. And they'll get to the point where it doesn't matter whether they're good or not, they have the audience, so they can put almost anything out and the people will flock to see it. I think that might be a little less likely, only because when your stars are big enough, I don't know if these studios will be able to pay them that there's enough meat on the bone that they'll make money as well, especially when many of the social media stars now are savvy about businesses and they're building businesses around their brand where it might be too expensive to be in a movie and still make it worthwhile for the producers to do. But that's my prediction. That's my thought. But we're in an era now where struggling actors or actresses, you're in a position where you can put yourself on now. Gone are the days of hoping to get a part and projecting yourself to stardom. Everyone has the tools to make themselves a star. And it starts with a cell phone. You now have the power and the tools to put yourself on. If you feel as though you're getting underpaid, put yourself on. And I'm not denying that it doesn't happen. I'm sure it's very real. But look, that happens with us in many industries. But my advice is if you feel that strongly about it, go ahead and put yourself on. You have the tools to do it. So that's my little rant about it. So that's all for now. That's a bit of my take. I hope you found this helpful. And if you have any more questions about this particular topic or any other tax or accounting related questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. That's all for now. I'll talk to you in the next one.